Tumisho, Grater and Lesego Mosupye, Chief Financial Officer at ECIC, look at the current state of trade and investment on the African continent.
I think the ECIC is insurer of last resort. We try to look at how we can support South African businesses to export outside South Africa. So what's the impact? The impact is that we looking at helping them grow their businesses locally, so more jobs, more opportunities, as well as South Africans working in other places outside South Africa.
Are you able to let us know if there have been any particular sectors that have been seeing traction when it comes to investment?
I think historically as the ECIC we've done a lot of mining, and that's really because South African economy is all about mining, so there's a lot of exporters, manufacturers, PCM contractors in South Africa that have capabilities of developing mines and putting up processing plants. So historically ECIC has been doing a lot of that. But of late we're looking more at infrastructure type projects, and our construction companies are now seeing opportunities offshore where they're building power stations, water treatment plants and so forth. So those are the, call it the new opportunities that we're seeing for exporters.
What else have you seen, given the fact that we, if we look at the African continent, we look at South Africa, the macroeconomic environment hasn't been exactly favorable. So you say mining, there's been a bit of a shift, but what is the strategy, or how are you adapting to this changing landscape?
I think that certainly is a very good question. I think looking at our pipeline compared to say a year or 2 years ago, it's much lower, definitely. So what's going on? Where are the opportunities? So in Mozambique, there's quite a lot of the new oil and gas finds, or rather gas finds, that are bringing up sort of more opportunities for South Africa. So we're looking at LNG type of projects there, and those are essentially a new area even for South African exporters. They're multi-billion-dollar transactions, that will require even a bigger commitment from ECIC that we had never anticipated. There are rail projects that are happening as well in Mozambique, long-term type rail projects to transport coal from sort of the deep of Mozambique to the coast. So those are the new things that potentially will help keep us dry. But what we are missing is sort of the smaller type of transactions, the small businesses that can be able to at least drive some manufacturing, broader manufacturing in South Africa. And so what we then had to do is to look at new products that can at least encourage sort of these smaller type transactions to be able to gain traction. And we're looking at products where we try and attract financing, or rather attract exports in the countries where perhaps there's opportunities. How we're doing it is we're looking at credit lines with banks in African countries so that they can lend to their local companies as borrowers, with the objective of looking at what can they export out of South Africa. So that in a way will help us to at least broaden the base of exports that comes out of South Africa, but also transactions, but also looking at the smaller transactions as opposed to these big large transactions that we are typically used to.
You're talking about the smaller transactions, and you can think maybe of it as the smaller guys. The policies that are in place now, do you think they have been conducive in aiding this? With you wanting to focus more on the smaller players or the smaller transactions? Yeah,
in fact, maybe I should clarify that small actually in our terms is 10 million to about $20 million. So it's still quite large.
Sizable.
Transactions. But smaller in terms of what we used to is a $100 million type transaction typically that we've done. So in that instance, I think the challenge has been more about those businesses knowing about ECIC. And so that's why we're doing these sort of interactions with CNBC to try and sort of send the message out there that we are open for business. We're really looking to support these mid-size business players. had a very good meeting with a company that's looking at water treatment today, and that's an excellent. They're looking at many transactions across Africa. And those are the things that we're trying to support. And unfortunately, they had never known about ECIC, but fortunately, at least we have some contact with them, and that will help them to grow their business.